All right, let's examine the third and final yoga, or marga, Bhakti Marga. I'm going to explain why Hindu gods have multiple heads and or arms. So the way of wisdom tries to renounce all things to realize Brahman. Renouncers even renounce images of the divine and religious rituals. The tension between these two impulses is seen in all religions. It lies in what may be the main endeavor of religion, to conceptualize that which is beyond conception. There are two different approaches to mystery. One is the mystical approach, think nothing, imagine nothing. This is Jnana, the way of wisdom. Two is the symbolic approach, think devotionally about images of the divine. And this is Bhakti Yoga. So even the iconoclastic Abrahamic faiths conceptualize the divine. Despite the Ten Commandments, what it says about no graven images, the Old Testament uses countless linguistic metaphors, word pictures to describe Yahweh. Most people need symbols to guide their spirits. Idolatry must be avoided, however. One must not confuse divine reality with the products of our minds and hands. Devotional Hindus try to walk this razor's edge, much like those Eastern Orthodox Christians who make icons. So silence equals unity equals the way of wisdom, but symbol equals plurality equals the way of devotion. There must be two, the adherent and the divine, in order to have the relationship that's going to be the way out of samsara. Is reality one or is reality many? For a devotional Hindu, it is clearly both. This is from one of the Upanishads. Student, how many gods are there? Yajnavalkya says 3,306. Yes, but really how many? 33. Yes, but really how many? 6. Yes, but really how many? 3. Yes, but really how many? 2. Yes, but really how many? 1.5. Yes, but really how many? 1. One Hindu tradition puts the number of gods at 330 million. The many devas are so there's so many expressions of the one reality, Brahman. They represent the ultimate reality as it is revealed to humans. 330 million is a lot closer to infinity than 1, and Brahman is clearly infinite. The image, whether linguistic, visual, or physical, serves as a portal to the infinite, but we must never be confused with it. It's a portal. It's not the transcendent. The complexity of the God's many manifestations serve to astound and overwhelm the mind and remind us, sort of the ultimate reality's unspeakable nature. So devotional Hindus have an Ishta Devata, a personal deity of choice. This is often determined by one's family or village, but it's certainly not uncommon for family members to be devoted to different gods. It is a personal decision based on personal affinity. It might even be suggested by an astrologer. So devotees worship their deva or devi as the supreme god, but they do not feel compelled to deny the reality of other gods or even their supremacy for their followers. So let's look at Hindu iconography through the lens of Shaivism. Shaivites practice Shaivism, meaning worship of Lord Shiva. It's a large group of Hindus. So iconography, by the way, are images or symbols associated with the subject, especially a divinity. So Hindu iconography seems scandalous to Abrahamic believers. The easy confusion of iconography with idolatry betrays a lack of understanding about the nature and function of religious iconography. Images of the devas and devis can be anthropomorphic, human-like, or not. Natural phenomena like stones, rivers, trees, and celestial bodies can symbolize a deva. Yantras, or geometric designs, can symbolize the Devi, the great goddess. Brahman pervades all that is. Therefore, anything can theoretically manifest it and yield access to the sacred. Anthropomorphic symbols, however, are particularly useful ways for humans to understand the divine. The danger in this approach is making the representations too human. And that's why they have multiple heads and arms. Hindu iconography fights this tendency by adding elements to remind us the gods are not human. Lord Ganesha has an elephant head. Brahma is blue. Durga has 8 arms. Brahma has multiple heads. Many Hindus are illiterate, and these images are the source of their theology. Just like, by the way, stained glass windows were for medieval illiterate peasants in Europe. We will explore the iconography of Shiva. Shiva's antecedents include the meditating horn god, the man in the IBC culture stamp, and the Vedic god Rudra, the howler. The iconography and mythology of Shiva portray him as paradoxical and profoundly complex. He is both the destroyer and the creator of the universe. Lord Shiva is movement and tranquility, light and darkness, male and female, celibate and promiscuous. He is sometimes referred to as the erotic ascetic. Shiva afflicts with illness, yet he is the healer. He is wild, yet he is compassionate. These paradoxes represent the limitlessness and freedom of the divine. Also, destruction precedes creation, birth precedes death. That which afflicts can heal. We will examine three common images of Shiva, which encapsulate Shaivite theology. The first is Shiva as the Mahayogi, which means great meditator. We've looked at this before. So, the great yogi image symbolizes Shiva's tranquil ascetic aspects and provides a model for Shaivites who seek to practice asceticism. The symbolism is in his eyes, half shut. He's in the world but not of it. Animal skins, representing primal energy. The triad he's holding represents control over mind, body, and intellect. He has a tamed cobra, which represents his ego. He has triumphed over his ego. And Ganja, the goddess, is in a top knot, shows his compassion. Look here, you can see the river, the top knot, the goddess Ganja, who is also the river Ganges. Okay. The second great image of Shiva is him as Nataraja, the lord of the dance. Nata is dance, Raja is king or lord. It depicts his cosmic dance during the auspicious event, the Maharashivarati, the great night of Shiva. He dances all night, dancing away the ignorance of darkness. And you've probably seen this image and not realized what it was. You may have thought it was a woman, but it's not. It's Lord Shiva. Sorry. Now the ascetic is a dancer. And the meaning of this is the flying hair, the dance is wild and free, though his face is tranquil. He has 4 arms to suggest his power, and each makes a meaningful gesture. One holds a drum to sound the world into existence. One holds a flame to destroy it. One hand is upraised, telling the devotee, fear not. The last points down to the foot, where the devotee may find refuge. Let's go back. Yeah. The final image of Shiva is of him as Ardhanarisvana, a half-woman lord. All the great gods of Hinduism have their essential female counterpart, their Shakti. Shiva, aside from being Lord Shiva's name, is also that's the masculine counterpart. Complements Shakti. This is portrayed in major ways. Here we have it. Same deity, one half woman, one half man. It represents the all-encompassing nature of the divine. Plurality is an illusion. There is only unity. Obviously, Hindu images convey whole worlds of meaning that is inaccessible in other ways. The paradoxes caution the devotee that the divine cannot be pinned down with an image or a concept. That said, there is a special sense in which the images are understood to manifest or embody divine reality, therefore making these images actual incarnations of the gods. When an image is completed, say for a festival, a god or goddess might be invited to inhabit it through an elaborate ritual of consecration. Ordinarily, the consecration lasts for a specific period of time, like a week-long festival. When the time is up, the image is often destroyed and given a funeral. The funeral practice reminds the devotee that although a god may be incarnate in the image is not God. The idea of incarnation has important implications for puja, that Hindu ritual worship practice, showing hospitality to the gods. The central focus of Hindu temples are divine images. The design of temples varies from small storefronts to structures that rival the cathedrals of Europe. Here is a temple in South India. The image in a temple is often treated as a god in living form. It is gently waked in the morning, is bathed, clothed, adorned, offered food. At various times during the day, the image is made available to devotees. This is known as darshan, special viewing of the divine image. Seeing the God and being seen by the God is a very important transaction in devotional Hinduism. So let's look at another aspect, bhakti text, devotional text through the lens of Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism is the religion of Vaishnavites. It simply means they're adherents of Lord Vishnu, another really major Hindu god. The bhakti path became important during the late classical and early medieval period of Hinduism. Concurrent with the rise of the way of devotion were the inclusion of some new texts in the Hindu canon. They're both epic poems, the Mahabharata, the Great India, and the Ramayana. The Shruti is a word that means divinely revealed teaching, the highest level of sacredness, whereas Smrti is simply divinely inspired, though not divinely revealed scriptures. So, for example, to put it in perspective, the Torah would be Shruti, the Talmud would be Smrti. In Islam, the Quran clearly, literally is Shruti, and the Hadith would be Smrti. Another set of Smrti scriptures are the Puranas, or Puranas, assembled between 300 and 1000 CE. These are the sources of much of the mythology of the gods and goddesses. These later works of Smrti they're much more widely read and known than the text of Shruti, such as the Veda and the Upanishads. Our investigation of the Bhakti path will be through the Bhagavad Gita, the most popular Hindu text. Many Hindus have it completely memorized. It's a short chapter within the much larger Mahabharata. The central character of both the Mahabharata and the Ramayana is the god Vishnu, central to the Hindu religion, Vaishnavism. Vishnu was a deva in the Vedic period, though not a very important one. He was the younger brother of Indra, and also called the Three-Stepper. This refers to a story where he appears as a dwarf named Vamana before the demon king Bali and says, may I ask a boon of all the land I can cover in 3 steps? And so Bali just laughed and granted the boon, and then he sort of expanded to his true divine form, and with 3 giant steps covered the entire cosmos. Vishnu holds a club symbolizing knowledge, a ball signifying the earth, a chakra signifying power, and a conch shell signifying water and the origins of existence. Vishnu's most significant feature is his avatars, or incarnations. Avatara means to descend into, to literally download into. This happens at critical junctures in world history. Tradition maintains that Vishnu has 10 avatars, 9 of which have appeared. And here they are. The older ones, by the way, notice number 5 is Vamana, the dwarf who defeats Bali. But the first 6 are not as important. They're important in myth, but in terms of actual adherence, 7 and 8 are the big ones. And then number 9 is Buddha. Buddha is an incarnation of Vishnu to Hindus. 10 is Kalki. He is a messianic avatar who will arrive when necessary. Again, Brahman, Krishna, practically those are the most important. They're huge devotional deities. As Rama, Vishnu appears as a royal figure who defeats his wife's abductor in the great epic, the Ramayana. He's considered a great moral exemplar, and his marriage to Sita is considered the ideal marriage. Krishna is a name more commonly known to Westerners, possibly because of ISKCON. ISKCON is an acronym for International Society of Krishna Consciousness, more commonly known as the Hare Krishnas. Krishna's popularity is centered on 2 images of him, 2 different images. The first is of a playful young man, mischievous and amorous. This image is most famously shown in the Gita Govinda, which means the love song of the Dark Lord. Wait, what? Dark Lord Voldemort? No, he's called the Dark Lord because he's dark blue. The Gita Govinda is a delightful story of Krishna's consort's passionate longing for him. It is easily some of the most erotic religious literature in world religions. One might long for God as a lover longs for her beloved. This is the Bhakti path. It's also the sort of devotional relationship expressed in the Song of Solomon in the Jewish Bible, or in Sufism in Islam. The other source of Krishna's popularity is his role in the Bhagavad Gita, composed between 400 BCE and 400 CE. It is part of the Mahabharata, which has over 100,000 verses. It is, I believe, the longest poem in human literature. The Gita has enjoyed wide influence in the West. Admirers include Emerson, Thoreau, and T.S. Eliot. And that is the Bhakti Yoga.